Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Deshitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahans Parivicharya Astotaras Divine Grace AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक अष्टोत्तर डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सच गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोधाम की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर नदी धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगामयी जमुनामयी की जय तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय all glories to assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees always Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Monday, September 15th, 2025. Today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21:44. Is that right? I got that from the chat. assuming it's right from the chat. I think I had left that call early, so. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Guru Maharaj, would you like to start us off, or should I?
You can start us off.
Okay. 44. Punayanam Shila Danam Krita Jnam Vidashrayam Samvinate Nu Sampada Prasidatam Brahma Kulam Kavam Cha Janardana Sanucharas Cha Mayam. Translation. Whoever acquires the Brahminical qualifications, whose only wealth is good behavior, who is grateful and who takes shelter of experienced persons, gets all the opulence of the world. I therefore wish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his associates be pleased with the Brahmana class, with the cows, and with me. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped with the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Thus it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead respects and protects the Brahmanas and Brahminical culture, as well as the cows. In other words, wherever there are Brahmanas and Brahminical culture, there are cows and cow protection. In a society or civilization in which there are no Brahmanas or Brahminical culture, cows are treated as ordinary animals and slaughtered at the sacrifice of human civilization. The specific mention of the word Gavam by Prithu Maharaj is significant because the Lord is always associated with cows and his devotees. In pictures, Lord Krishna is always seen with cows and his associates, such as the cowherd boys and the gopis. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be alone. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj said, Tanucharas Cha, indicating that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always associated with his followers and devotees. Guru Maharaj, do you have any comments here? This paragraph?
No.
Okay. A hand from Saraswati Mataji.
Pranams Param Pujya Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. Is it possible for me to ask a question on text 43? I don't actually recall having read it, but in the last class. But I do have a question if it's possible to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I came across a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter 22, text 53. And here, the translation of the verse is, O King Rahugana, without taking upon one's head the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, a Mahajan or Mahatma, one cannot attain devotional service. Devotional service is not possible to attain simply by undergoing severe austerities and penances, by gorgeously worshipping the deity, or by strictly following the rules and regulations of the sannyas or grahastha order, nor is it attained by studying the Vedas, submerging oneself in water, or exposing oneself to fire or scorching sunlight. So my question is, I'm not sure why devotional service is not attained by gorgeously worshipping the deity. Because isn't that Archana one of the Navda Bhaktis? Hare Krishna.
But without the, well, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shamini Namani. Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pracharane. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyate Shatana. But without the mercy of devotees, one will not succeed, whether in deity worship or in hearing or chanting, remembering Krishna. For success in these 9 methods, the mercy of the devotee is so important, and therefore it's emphasized, not by this, not by that. One has to get the mercy of a devotee.
Guru Maharaj, I made a note because I don't understand that the question that was asked in the verse where it said, is devotional service attained by accident? And then it talked about the different pious activities and, but I don't think that question, I couldn't find the answer to that question. If devotional service is attained by accident, or is it pre-arranged by Krishna? I couldn't find the answer to that question.
In which verse? 43?
No, perhaps I can look up that verse while somebody else continues with moving forward.
In any case, the devotional service in general is a continuation from previous service that we know. Yesham Twantakatam Papam Jananam Punyakarmanam Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanavan Mamprapadyate. So gradually, over many births, one increases the credit attained by spiritual activities until one attains perfection. So it's not just random. We see that people, what is that in Bhagavad Gita? Porvadehikam. It's a te chaptato bhuya sangsito kunandana. Purvabhyasena tenaiva viyateya vishopisa. One doesn't complete the yoga system, but in the next life becomes automatically attracted. Many such references. But from another point of view, one can get everything. Lavamatra sadhu sange sharva siddhi hoy. By the mercy of a devotee, one can make, causeless advancement. But even that's not accidental. That's by the goodwill of a devotee. So things don't just happen. There's some reason. Even in the spiritual field, things don't just happen. But it's either the mercy of a devotee or the results of previous practice. Or both, of course. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
A devotee acquires all the good qualities of the demigods. He is Gunayanam, the reservoir of all good qualities. His only asset is good behavior, and he is grateful. Gratitude for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of the qualities of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Everyone should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is maintaining all living entities and supplying all their necessities. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 2:13, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. The Supreme One is supplying all necessities to the living entities. The living entity, who is therefore grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is certainly qualified with good characteristics.
Be ungrateful is not very good. Hare Krishna.
The word Rida Shrayam is very significant in this verse. Rida refers to one who is advanced in knowledge. There are two kinds of old men, those who are advanced in years and those who are experienced in knowledge. One who is advanced in knowledge is actually Riddha, Jnana Riddha. One does not become Riddha simply by advancing in age. Riddhashrayam, a person who takes shelter of a superior person who is advanced in knowledge, can acquire all the good qualities of a Brahmana and be trained in good behavior. When one actually attains good qualities, becomes grateful for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, he is endowed with all opulence. Such a person is a Brahmana or Vaishnava. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj invokes the blessings and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his associates, devotees, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and cows. Guru Maharaj, would you like to comment?
Well, we might look at Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. He says the result of a person's having good qualities is stated. Wealth, like a woman who chooses a husband on her own, chooses spontaneously, samvrinate, that person. So all good fortune, we hear about the goddess of fortune. All good fortune follows a devotee. Gunayanam, one who has all good qualities. Shiladhanam, one whose wealth is good behavior. Kritagya, who's grateful. Riddhashraya, takes shelter of the Riddha. Prahlad Maharaj Prabhupada said was Riddha. At 5 years old, he was Riddha because he was experienced in knowledge. Samvrinate, when one achieves all opulences. So may that Supreme Personality of Godhead be pleased with us, with the cows, with the Brahmins, with the devotees, with everyone, with all of us. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, here is a good example that since Prabhupada was really fixed and advanced in knowledge and also surrendered to Krishna, Krishna gave him abundance amount of wealth.
Yes, practical. Prabhupada used to cite that. I started with 7 rupees and now we're spending every day in so many centers, so many thousands of rupees.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And this proves that, when Prithu Maharaj said that.
Sorry?
This proves what Prithu Maharaj is saying. Very true.
Yes. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guru Maharaj, would you like to read?
Maitreya Vacha, iti bruvanam nripatim, pitradeva dvijateyaha, tushtuvur krishta manasa, sadhu vadena sadhavaha. Great sage Maitreya said, after hearing King Prithu speak so nicely, all the demigods, the denizens of Pitraloka, the Brahmanas, and the saintly persons present at the meeting congratulated him by expressing their goodwill. Purport. When a person speaks very nicely at a meeting, he is congratulated by the audience, who express their goodwill with the words sadhu, sadhu. This is called sadhuvad. All the saintly persons, pitas, denizens of Pitraloka, and demigods who were present at the meeting and heard Prithu Maharaj express their goodwill with the words sadhu, sadhu. They all accepted the good mission of Prithu Maharaj, and they were fully satisfied. Hare Krishna. Nothing to add here today.
In the chat, Panchatattva Prabhu writes, Sadhu, sadhu, sometimes translated as very good, or excellent, excellent, or well done in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Gurmaj, would you like to continue or should we pass it off?
You can move it around.
Okay. Madhupati Prabhu, are you available? Text 46, chapter 41.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Gurudas Jayādvaita Swami Tinami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinami. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadeshatami. Putrena Jayate Lokan Itya Sati Satyavati Shruti Brahmadanda Hata Papo Yadveno Atyataratamaha. They all declared that the Vedic conclusion that one can conquer the heavenly planets by the action of a putra or son was fulfilled. For the most sinful Vena, who had been killed by the curse of the Brahmanas, was now delivered from the darkest region of hellish life by his son, Maharaj Prithu. According to the Vedic version, there is a hellish planet called Put, and one who delivers a person from there is called Putra. The purpose of marriage, therefore, is to have a Putra or son who is able to deliver his father, even if the father falls down to the hellish condition of Put. Maharaj Prithu's father, Vena, was a most sinful person and therefore cursed to death by the Brahmanas. Now all the great saintly persons, sages and Brahmanas present in the meeting, after hearing from Maharaj Prithu about his great mission in life, became convinced that the statement of the Vedas had been fully proved. The purpose of accepting a wife in religious marriage as sanctioned in the Vedas is to have a putra, a son qualified to deliver his father from the darkest region of hellish life. Marriage is not intended for sense gratification, but for getting a son fully qualified to deliver his father. But if a son is raised to become an unqualified demon, how can he deliver his father from hellish life? It is therefore the duty of a father to become a Vaishnava and raise his children to become Vaishnavas. Then even if by chance the father falls into a hellish life in his next birth, such a son can deliver him, as Maharaj Prithu delivered his father. Om Agyanatiminandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmita Hina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Here the citizens are praising Prithu Maharaj that the Vedic concludes that one can conquer the heavenly planets by the action of a putra or a son was fulfilled. Prithu Maharaj's father, Vena, was cursed by the Brahmanas and was killed by the curse of the Brahmanas. But the Brahmanas, after churning the body of Vena from no, Prithu Maharaj appeared, and Prithu Maharaj, being ideal king, ideal son, partial incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Satyavesha Avatar, he carried out his duties in such a way that he could deliver his father. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, though his father was Hiranyakashipu, the biggest of a demon, delivered by his activities his father, Hiranyakashipu. And here Prithu Maharaj is delivering Vena from going to Halley's planet. Srila Prabhupada mentioned there is a Halley's planet called Put, and Putra is one who delivers his father from going to that Halley's planet. Right, so it is imperative that Srila Prabhupada, as he mentions in the purport, that one should take up to devotional service and then conceive a child with proper sanskars and raise a child in Krishna consciousness. So even by chance, if he falls down, then his child can deliver him. Like in this case, Prithu Maharaj delivered Vena. The purpose of life should not be for sense gratification, but for performing devotional service. Especially in the last 2 weeks, right now we are having this Pitru Paksh short period where the entire period is meant to deliver the ancestors. So if we perform devotional service, automatically the ancestors now get the benefit for and that would be the best way to serve one's father, one's ancestors. Yeah, that's all I had. Very much.
Good.
We have some things in the chat. Praveen Prabhu writes, the Shraddha is performed to deliver one's forefathers, both paternal and maternal. Naveen Prabhu writes, how pure of a devotee must one be to deliver their father and or ancestors?
It's up to Krishna. That's up to Krishna. But Krishna also, as the devotee, is kritajna, grateful. Krishna is also grateful. Someone, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mayi te teshu japyam. Krishna is also grateful. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. Even a little devotional service can deliver one. So it can deliver the practitioner, or can deliver the ancestors of the practitioner. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Hmm.
Sinful Vena, I don't know how many things he did, bad activities and kill people and all that. So how did he get that fortunate that he got Prithu Maharaj?
Yes. One thing is that he was descended from Maharaj Anga, so there was good fortune in the family. there was death personified as his mother, so that wasn't very good. But his father was King Anga, great devotee. So on that, from that perspective, we can say he was fortunate.
And also it's a Dhruv Maharaj lineage.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Saraswati Maharshi writes, one Indian poet has spoken of Putra and Mutra. Putra means son and Mutra means urine. Both a son and urine come from the same genitals. If a son is an obedient devotee of the Lord, he is called Putra, or a real son. Otherwise, if he is not learned and is not a devotee, a son is nothing better than urine.
Yes. Yes.
Panchatattva Prabhu, are you available for 47?
Sure. Hiranyakasipus chapi bhagavanindayatamaha viviksha atyaga suno pradasyanubhavataha. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu, who by dint of his sinful activities always defied the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered into the darkest region of hellish life. But by the grace of his great son, Prahlad Maharaj, he also was delivered and went back home, back to Godhead. Purport. When Prahlad Maharaj was offered benediction by Nrsimhadev, due to his great devotion and tolerance, he refused to accept any benediction from the Lord, thinking that such acceptance was not befitting a sincere devotee. The rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in expectation of a good reward is deprecated by Prahlad Maharaj as mercantile business. Because Prahlad Maharaj was a Vaishnava, he did not ask a benediction for his personal self, but was very affectionate toward his father. Although his father tortured him and would have killed him had he himself not been killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlad Maharaj begged pardon for him from the Lord. This favor was immediately granted by the Lord, and Hiranyakashipu was delivered from the darkest region of hellish life, and he returned back home, back to Godhead, by the grace of his son. Prahlad Maharaj is the topmost example of a Vaishnava, who is always compassionate towards sinful persons suffering a hellish life within this material world. Krishna is therefore known as Paradhuka Dhuki Kripambuddhihi, or one who is compassionate toward other suffering and who is an ocean of mercy. Like Prahlad Maharaj, all pure devotees of the Lord come to this material world with full compassion to deliver the sinful. They undergo all kinds of tribulations, suffering them with tolerance, because that is another qualification of a Vaishnava, who tries to deliver all sinful persons from the hellish conditions of material existence. Vaishnavas are therefore offered the following prayer: Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. The chief concern of a Vaishnava is to deliver the fallen souls. Om Ajnana Tamaranda Shagaranjana Salakaya Chakrumani Tam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sometimes when I read these purports, you come across a purport which just kind of leaps out at you as brimming with compassion and a kind of special ecstasy. And this is how I feel about this purport. And the fact that Prabhupada's just really showing how exemplary and how magnanimous and how extraordinary is Prahlad Maharaj. I mean, when you read what was done to him by his father, any lesser personality would be out for revenge one way or another, or at least traumatized for the rest of his life, or, or just, damaged. But here Prahlad Maharaj, in such spiritual equanimity on the one hand, and on the other hand, full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls, of which his father was a particularly good example of fallen conditioned soul. So Prahlad Maharaj, instead of accepting any possible benediction, of which one can only imagine what that could be, he just rejected it as mercantile. He didn't want to approach the Lord in that way. He's just purely love. His love for Krishna was pure. It wasn't conditional in any way. He wasn't looking for a return on his investment. Instead, he prayed for his father's deliverance. If it'll be all right, I'll just mention one little story. And of course, the mercy of the devotees comes in ways other than through one's own son or daughter. Fortunately for my parents, towards the end of their lives, about 6-7 years ago, my son-in-law and daughter were married, and there was some wedding celebration that my parents basically hosted at a cabin in northern Michigan. Cabin is kind of making it sound awfully simple. It was a nice place. And members of both sides of the family came, and Apurva and Kamalini, two wonderful Prabhupada disciples. Apurva, in particular, is an extraordinary cook, and they catered that affair for the whole weekend. And while my father lay in the living room of the cabin, quite elderly, and normally not interested in so much in spiritual subject matters, Apurva was in the kitchen preparing, cooking, for every meal for like 3-4 days. And he would constantly play lectures by Srila Prabhupada on a little MP3 player and speaker. And I was a little nervous because I had told him, you have to be a little careful, on the father's side, they're not so interested. And on Doug, who's now Dharmavir's side, they're, come from science backgrounds, and they're similarly of a somewhat skeptical nature. So he said, oh yeah, we'll be very careful. But but that night before the first day of catering, he shaved up and he came in dhoti and kurta and tilak, and Kamalini is also dressed very nicely to the nines, as we would say, in spiritual dress. And they catered and played Prabhupada lectures the entire time. And my father listened to it the whole weekend. And they prepared wonderful meals, full on Krishna Prasadam, offered everything with love and devotion. And I asked my father after that, just to cut it a little short, there are other details, how was the weekend? And he said to me, this was the best weekend of my life. And my father wasn't given to exaggeration. He was a quiet kind of person, held everything in. He grew up in the Depression, so he was one of that generation, not emotive. But he told me that. He was very sincere about it. He said, this was the best weekend of my life. And so I understood that by the mercy of Apurva and Kamalini, my mother and father, at the fag end of their lives, they would only die, not so many years later, 3-4 years later, they passed from this world. They were able to obtain some mercy in this life because of the grace of two wonderful Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gurudev.
The glories of Apurva and Kamalini.
Yes.
Yes. Glorious devotees.
Mm.
Yes,
You guys choose the right caterer.
Yeah. They would go out in the yard at the three junctures of the day and sit down, in view of the people that coming and going and they would sit down in the grass under the trees and chant their Gayatris, and they just weren't making any compromises. Hey, we're devotees. This is what we do. And at the end of the affair, Dharmavir got everybody to chant Hare Krishna. He said, to thank Paul and Kate, poor Venkamalini, I would like everybody to chant Hare Krishna.
Nice.
And they did.
That's great.
Mahesh Panditpur, can you take over hosting?
Sure, yeah.
We have a hand also.
Oh, yeah, right. Saraswati Mother, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Panchatattva Prabhuji. You almost brought tears to my eyes. I wanted to also talk about this animated movie, Mahavatar Narsingha. I don't know how many devotees have already heard it or seen it, but here in ISKCON Vancouver, we organized for some devotees to go together. And it was a spectacular movie, and I can assure you there wasn't a dry eye in the audience whatsoever, and the audience didn't consist, of course, entirely of devotees. But the way, just the opening credits alone that mentioned Srila Prabhupada as the primary reference for the movie, and right at the end, they showed Mayapur and, of course, Lord Nrsingadev's deity. But the story was so true to Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the emotions that Prahlad had. It's really hard to sort of describe it, but through all the trials and tribulations that he had, he kept saying to his friends that he didn't expect anything at all, because he felt that being born in a Rakshasa school, one shouldn't expect anything from the Lord, but just this love that he had. And at one point when they showed how he'd sort of passed out from one of the torches, I think it was when he was thrown off the cliff, when he opened his eyes, he had darshana of Lord Narayan, and he felt that, what prayers can I offer him? He was stunned because he didn't expect that he'd get this face-to-face darshana. And then the Lord said, he just said, "Oh, I want to serve you, my Lord." That, and then Lord Narayan said to him, "But I am more anxious to serve you, my devotees. I'm very anxious to serve my devotees." And then at the end, when they showed how Lord Nrsingadev came and this battle that took place with Hiranyakashipu, so some people in the audience had their fingers in their mouth, even though you know what the outcome of the story was, still just to view it. And when Lord Nrsingadev was so enraged, nobody could calm him down. And you saw, Lord Brahma is like, "Oh, don't ask me, Lord Shiva, don't ask me," and all the demigods. And then when they approached Mother Lakshmi, she was standing on this lotus flower, and and she said, "I've never seen my husband so angry." And then you saw this scene where the entire lotus flower sort of enveloped around her in her eyes. She didn't even want to see this rage exhibited by Lord Nrsingadev. But anyway, the movie was just fantastic. I'd like to encourage all the devotees to have a chance to go. And I have a question for Gurudev. I came across this in Madhya Leela. It said, this is a quote, "Narayan exhibited all the qualities of beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, expert intelligence, because it's bestowed by Krishna." And then it said, "Good behavior, mildness, magnanimity are only found in Krishna, who performs welfare activities for the whole world. These qualities are not visible in expansions like Narayan." So this seems to indicate that this quality of mercy and performing welfare activities for delivering the whole world, that's not present in expansions like Narayan. I was sort of, a little bit confused about that. Perhaps Maharaj could shed some light on that. Hare Krishna.
Where's the reference from?
It says Madhya, well, it's book 5, chapter 21, verse 121.
Madhya 25.
No, Madhya chapter, well, I have, it says book 5, volume 5, I guess, chapter 21, and text 121, 121.
Madhya 25, 121.
No, Madhya 21, 121.
Madhya 21, 121. Okay, let's take a look to see what's going on here. Madhya 21, 121. Krishna, Krishna. Madhya 21. Okay. A moment more. Well, it's explained by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the purport itself. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that the qualities of beauty, humility, mercy, merit, patience, and expert intelligence are brilliant qualities, and when they are exhibited in the person of Narayan, one should know that they are bestowed upon Narayan by Krishna. That seems to answer your question.
Yes, but then, Maharaj, the last sentence, it says, good behavior, mildness, and magnanimity are found only in Krishna. Only Krishna performs welfare activities for the whole world, which sort of means that Narayan or the other expansions don't.
No, it means what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, that when you see it, when you see these qualities manifest in Narayan, they're bestowed upon him by Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. I would like Naveen Prabhu, please, next verse.
Oh, and by the way, here also they took me to see the Sringavatar film, and yes, it's very impressive, beautifully done film. The yeah. I think, and again, yes, the filmmaker has stuck to the text, and that makes it particularly appreciated, and it's coming from they were inspired by Srila Prabhupada, so how wonderful, actually. A wonderful film.
Apparently, he had mortgaged his entire house and his small fortune to make this movie because he didn't, there wasn't that many producers wanting to put money into this kind of a movie.
Yeah, the devotees told me that he so much wanted to do it that he mortgaged his house, and now it's the biggest grossing film in animated film in Indian history.
Krishna rewards.
Yeah. Yeah, we heard that all opulence follows. There's another practical demonstration. Devotee tries to glorify Krishna. Krishna makes everything possible.
Okay, on the chart box, Madhupati Desh says Srinathji Prabhu's son was the producer. Oh, that's his son, Srinathji, from Bombay, right? Srinathji.
Srinathji from Bombay.
Yeah.
Yes. Was.
Kushal,
Nice.
Kushal Desai.
I don't see anything in the chat. What's he say there? Who says what?
Okay, let's see. Then after that, Panchatattva Prabhu says, the next
Oh, I
verse.
see there that Srinathji Prabhu's son was the producer.
Right, yeah, was producer. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, nice. Good to know. So he's a devotee, so yeah. Panchatattva Prabhu says, the next verse in Madhya Lila, after seeing Krishna, various people criticize the blinking of their eyes. In Vrindavan, especially all the gopis criticize the Lord, Brahma, because of the defect in the eyes. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and explained them vividly, thus enjoying the taste of transcendental sweetness with great happiness. Okay, so next, Naveen Prabhu. Text number 48. Are you available, Naveen Prabhu? If not, I would invite Saraswati Mata.
Text 48. Viravya pita prithvyaha samaha sanjiva sasvityaha yasya trishya chute bhakti sarva lokaika bhartari. Translation. All the saintly brahmanas thus addressed Prithu Maharaj, O best of the warriors, O father of this globe, may you be blessed with a long life, for you have great devotion to the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of all the universe. Purport. Prithu Maharaj was blessed by the saintly persons present at the meeting to have a long life because of his unflinching faith and his devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although one's duration of life is limited in years, if by chance one becomes a devotee, he surpasses the duration prescribed for his life. Indeed, sometimes yogis die according to their wish, not according to the laws of material nature. Another feature of a devotee is that he lives forever because of his infallible devotion to the Lord. It is said, Kirtiryashya sa jivati. One who leaves a good reputation behind him lives forever. Specifically, one who is reputed as a devotee of the Lord undoubtedly lives forever. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking with Ramananda Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, what is the greatest reputation? Ramananda Rai replied that a person who is reputed as a great devotee has the greatest reputation. For a devotee not only lives forever in the Vaikuntha planets, but by his reputation, he also lives forever within this material world. Omagyanantimirindasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshuranmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. So the wise rishis and sadhus and demigods, leaders of the different planetary systems that had come, wholeheartedly blessed Maharaj Prithu, because they recognized what an exalted Mahabhagavata devotee the king really was. And as a Shakti Aveshya Avtara, he was specifically empowered with Balan Shakti for maintaining everyone. And it's specifically said he was a father of the globe. So the longer that, of course, his duration of his reign is, the more blessed would be all the Brajajanas, because they knew that they would be provided with full provisions for advancing in Krishna consciousness peacefully. So they knew that the king is the best ruler, and of course he's going to oversee all the different affairs during his reign as a service to Krishna, and therefore there wouldn't be anything amiss. So a devotee's life, work, and all his actions, they're all eternal. And by hearing about their glorious activities, everyone can be benefited spiritually and feel really enlivened to advance in bhakti. And this sort of brings to mind a different kind of blessing that sages may give to different people who are under the influence of different modes. Let me see if I recall. Srila Prabhupada said for a king or a prince, sages would say, generally because they indulge in sense gratification, it's better that they live longer, because after death they might end up in hell due to unregulated sinful sense gratification. To a son of a saintly person, I think the blessing was that don't live, but better that you die immediately, because that person would be going home back to Godhead. And to devotees, I think the sage's blessing was it doesn't matter whether you live or die, because Vaishnavas are always engaged in Krishna's service, so they're always living in the Vaikuntha consciousness. And to a butcher, the sages would say, it's because their life is entirely abominable, slaughtering animals, whatever, don't die, because while they're living, the whole existence is gruesome, and when they die, definitely all those sinful reactions are going to send them straight to hell, so to speak. So we understand the devotee's sole treasure is his love for Krishna and serving Krishna's devotees, and therefore his kirti, his name, fame, glory, is known by everyone throughout the universes and lives forever. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
Yes.
much, Mother.
The butcher's blessed, don't live and don't die.
Yeah. Naveen
And
Prabhu,
devotee.
you can lead the kirtan, please.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Panumansa Paribraj Kacharya Stotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nahamacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadev Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Samadamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Naveen Prabhu, for your nice kirtan. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
on behalf of all the devotees on the Zoom, I would like to thank Maharaj for your nice association. And I just wish that you just keep on coming a whole week. But, it's 3-4 days not enough, but we'll see. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit.
His Holiness Jayādvaita Maharaj ki. Yeah.
Srila
And I
Prabhupada
request
ki
all
jai.
I also request all the recipients, please show up your face to Maharaj and say Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj.